The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom, natural, holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Now, not many people have actually released 70 pounds, had a health transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. It's been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51 when I never ran from childhood to adulthood due to foot problems. And I've done 8 half marathons so far. Mindset is the key to lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize your life in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide you to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing your health, releasing weight efficiently if needed, and enhancing your mindset. With my mindset coaching, I help my clients recognize that their thoughts, feelings, emotions will result in actions and as well as results that they may not want, because it can be a good result or a bad result. And that's why it's really imperative to have a have a positive mind to succeed in life. Also, it's crucial to release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because they will slow you down and get you stuck. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has balances, I help my clients release those balances and anything else so they can uplift to a happier, healthier life. And in turn, they're releasing their stress and reshaping their core beliefs. Now, you want to ask about my coaching progress, contact me through my consultation button of my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in Victory, ES.com/linktree, LINKTREE. Now, today I'm excited to have Lilian Sue, a PR coach and the founder of In Retrospect Writing Services. As a PR coach, she helps entrepreneurs and women in business gain the confidence to unlock their superpowers behind their stories and push past those limiting beliefs so they can harness the power of PR to reach their goals. Through her one-on-one coaching with her clients, she gives personalized support and guidance and helps to strengthen their mindset and using techniques that she learned through her own mindset coaching. And she also gives them tools and resources to build and to launch successful PR campaigns. She is even an author. She wrote the Powerful Publicity Description, and you can get that at her website, as well as we're going to be talking. Oh, and she also won 8 awards. And this book made a big impact in the entrepreneurial society. Now we'll be discussing how to unlock that, unlock your superpowers of your story by pushing past your fears. So let's welcome Lilian Sue, the owner of In Retrospect Writing Services and a PR coach. Lilian, welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me, Debbie. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. Now, how did you start as a PR coach?
Well, it actually came about in a really interesting way. Just before the pandemic hit, I had been a publicist for about 7 years, in business for about 13 by that point. And I was starting to feel really burnt out. I wanted a change. I had spent the better part of over a decade going at it alone with free resources and everything else. And I thought, I'm tired of following the status quo of my industry, and there has to be a better way for me to continue to work with fantastic entrepreneurs out there because I had so many people at the onset of the pandemic coming up to me and saying, hey, I would love to work with you in a campaign, but I can't afford it. So I thought, with all my years of knowledge and all of the experiences that I've had in publicity, there has to be a better way for me to continue to work with fantastic people and yet impart the knowledge I know they so sorely need about publicity and about the PR industry and how to make it work for them. So I decided, I'm tired of going at it alone. And that's why I invested in both business coaching and mindset coaching. And doing so not only really gave me the knowledge and education to be a good coach, it also really opened the gateway for me on, wow, like I had no idea up until that point what sort of mindset blocks and limiting beliefs were stopping me from moving forward. And I always thought, if I am going to be talking to my clients about this, then I can't very well coach them to do something that I'm afraid to do myself.
Very
So
true.
I really started this journey as a PR coach by actually doing the work first to uncover what's keeping me from moving forward. And from that experience, I've really been able to speak to where my clients are at with their fear, their anxiety, their imposter syndrome when it comes to getting out there and sharing their stories and building these meaningful connections.
Yeah, I have a similar, journey because if it wasn't for a trigger of, seeing a Christmas card photo going, how did I get that heavy? And I started the journey of weight release and I started doing everything else. And I really felt that I needed to, work on myself and learn some coaching and and so I can help others. And I've actually done work with Tony Robbins. I did the Core 100. I did some work with Michael Burnoff with the human interaction technology. I've had Deborah Erickson as a coach, and I still have coaches. We all need coaches, and Deborah Fleming is one person that is like a mentor and coach to me. So, we always need coaches, no matter where you are in life, because there's always an insight that somebody else can give you. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Getting that outside impartial perspective is so incredibly invaluable because as entrepreneurs, when you're stuck in it and you're so focused a lot of the times on doing the thing that you believe will get you the result, there's so many subconscious level beliefs that are actually
Yes.
controlling and influencing the decisions that you make that we don't even spend any time thinking about until we get to the end of whatever it is that we're doing. And then we wonder, why didn't I get the results I wanted? Well, it's because from the beginning, you've approached it the wrong way.
Very true. And that's why I work with my clients with their, with their thoughts, feelings, and emotions, just to show them that they will trigger actions and results. And one thing that's really important is that people understand there's a lot of things that are out of your control, but you can control the way you react or the way you respond to something. And you can also learn from things that didn't quite work out, right? And do something
Absolutely.
different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one thing that really slows people down, as I said, is that when they have this fear, they have anxiety, they have doubts, it's going to slow them down and get them stuck. And I experienced that too. And then I recognized it, and I'm like, oh, stop it. And I moved forward past my, fears and limiting beliefs I had at that time. And it's really important to people to understand that. And now you said that you had, not in this interview, but you told me that you had some anxiety and fear when you first started doing things. How did it manifest for you?
Oh, Debbie, it took me years to recognize actually that it was my anxiety that was driving my stress and driving my chronic illness. I
Yes.
would have flare ups, bolt out of bed in the middle of the night from a sound sleep and have pain so intense that I would be curled up on my living room floor. I'd lose hours of sleep. And then I'd need a couple of recovery days in order to get back to equilibrium. And it took me so long to recognize that, oh, my anxiety is driving these flare ups. And the reason why I have all this anxiety and stress is because I had this desire to want to control every aspect of my business. I was obsessing over responses, lack of responses to what I put out there, lack of engagement, um, obsessing over, did I send the right email to people? What was my tone? All
Yeah.
of these different little sorts of things that ultimately I can't control how people respond, if they respond, and everything. And it took me so long to recognize that the reason why I wanted that control, why I thought I needed it, was because growing up, I had no control. I was being controlled. And I went through several breakthroughs with my mindset coach and through things like meditation, self hypnosis, EFT, like a tapping exercise that I did. That was when I was finally able to let go of where I was in my childhood because I was able to recognize that I did the best that I could to survive. And I was able to forgive myself for not being able to do more to protect myself. And once I came to that breakthrough, it was like an entire weight lifted off my shoulders. And I no longer felt shame in sharing my story.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I used to do, which I see a lot of my clients do as well, is I'm just going to share my client testimonials. I'm just going to share those happy reviews, and it's going to tell people what precisely they get when they come to work with me. But it took me years. Like looking back at it, it was a revelation that I just could not fathom for so many years that, hey, wait a minute, that's not actually telling people anything. Because what I do is almost immaterial. Like, I'm not the only publicist, I'm not the only coach out there. What it's not telling them is, who am I? What's my approach? What is it about what I've been through that uniquely speaks to what they're going through and how I can help them through it? So that's why I started sharing my story on podcasts just like this one, where I talk about how I had to push past living with cultural barriers, with a lack of support at home, abuse, generational trauma, and
Mhm.
also living with mental health issues that eventually manifested themselves in a chronic illness in order to run my business. That resilience has been a core part of who I am and what I do for my entire life. And I learned how to do that without support
Yeah.
because that was the only way I could see my way clear to building a better life for myself than as opposed to fitting in a box.
Very true. Because No, I don't have so much trauma in my childhood. I was more like a child that they didn't pay attention to. So, and I never got in trouble. Not that I was trying not to. I just kept myself busy. I was like a creative person doing a lot of projects. My whole point is that it took me a long time to figure out, oh, my parents weren't all the best, but at least I didn't get abused. And that was my childhood. And it was like, really, because they're almost like, oh, you got to find this and this and this when you go through these coaching sessions. And it's like, I really didn't have anything other than my parents didn't pay attention to me. So, in a way, that's kind of a little bit of abandonment, and parents are not given training manuals. I'm sorry, they're just not. And some of them are really bad in your case. I'm so sorry. But if it wasn't for our mindset coaching while we delved into things, I mean, I've had things as an adult that were more terrifying than anything else in my life. And it was work related, but I got over those issues and I started working again and I started doing something different and I really enjoy it. While we're learning all this stuff through our coaching is something that we could definitely share with others. And like you said, you felt you needed to really work on yourself more so that you felt you weren't such an imposter. For me, I never felt like I was an imposter. Sometimes I could have, have a little more self-worth for myself and believe in myself more. And those are the things that we work with to help people with their mindset, whether it's a self-worth issue, whether it's something they can't control, that they need to not react to, whether it's, they're hiding behind a blanket of fat because they don't want to release their weight. And then you figure out why. So, I didn't know I was really, was so heavy until I saw that trigger of a photo and I cried. I have a very loving husband that got me my first weight release program and I actually committed to it. And that's pretty much what it is. It's somebody who really needs to be at that point to start working on their own mindset and dig down deep and find out, what's really slowing them down. What is the reason they want to do their business? What's their purpose in life? How do they want to feel fulfilled? And how they can fulfill other people's lives with what they have to offer. And that's both what we worked upon. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I think it's one of those where we get so used to living our lives based on a certain way, whether it's societal expectations, whether it's expectations our families have put on us, or whether it's through the workplace, we've been conditioned to believe that, hey, my story's not worthy of being shared. It's nothing special, or I can get by without doing that. And what I always say to my clients is that the thing about publicity that can be really scary is society dictates that, oh, it's a celebrity with millions of dollars and you see them on magazine covers, you see them on TV, and that's who it's for. It's not for me. So what I coach my clients on really is recognizing that, first of all, your story is worthy because it's your professional and personal lived experiences.
Yes.
And they deserve to be shared. They deserve to be acknowledged and celebrated because they've made you who you are.
Exactly.
They've influenced you, they've inspired you, and they've taught you things that you've carried into your life as an entrepreneur, whether you're an author, whether you're running a business. There's so many different stories out there that my clients will look at it and go, oh, I don't think I did anything special, when in reality it's like, you've lived an amazing life. You left a toxic 9 to 5 after 20 years in one industry and decided, hey, I want a better life for myself.
Exactly.
These are the things that I always champion my clients to share. And doing it using public relations isn't about selling or getting vulnerable in front of a bunch of strangers. I say to them, every time you get on a podcast or you talk to somebody on a YouTube show, or maybe you're being interviewed for a magazine, you have common ground with the person interviewing you, and you have common ground with the audiences, because you've all been through variations of the same thing. And they want to hear your story because they want to learn from you. They want to trust you. They want to support you. They're looking for people just like you to help them solve their problems because you've been there.
Exactly. And when I did my first book, it was another healing moment, because this book actually has a lot of people in it that they had traumatic stories. And the person that put the book together said, and I said, well, my story is not exactly like theirs. And but she says, your story is so very valuable. You cannot judge how someone's going to read this book and really get into your story or not. So why hold on to that judgment? Just let it go and see how it can inspire others, not expire, inspire others. And just writing your story is so therapeutic. And it does change over time because you grow and you learn things new. And it's about time for me to write another one, And I think I'm going to do my own book, because when I first did this chapter, I was like, oh, I can't do a book. I can't do a book. And now I'm thinking I can actually do my own book. So that's my whole point, is everything's a stepping stone to something else. Whether you're doing a chapter in a book, whether you're doing a podcast, whether you are branching out and thinking about doing articles in magazines, which I did, and as well as branching out to, finding out other things in the area, because I'm going to be doing some live events and some webinars that I need to advertise, and seeing, how I can manage to get publicity out there, inexpensively or maybe free. And that's what I love about your book, which we'll talk about later, because I just want to make sure that we covered everything. You pretty much, your tipping point was your chronic illness, right? I'm recognizing that it was your moment.
Like the chronic illness, and then also wanting a change in my business, and also recognizing that there were entrepreneurs out there who wanted to work with me, but they were telling me they couldn't in my current capacity. So I wanted to better serve them, and also finally recognize what was holding myself back. And the mindset work has been revolutionary. I still have tools that I recommend to my clients all the time that I use on the daily, because it has been so helpful to me, and it really reinforces this belief that, hey, on a daily basis, if I do the best that I can to the best of my ability, then that's all I need. And that's how I approach building and launching a PR campaign with my clients too, because I always say to them, it's not about spending millions of dollars. It's not about having millions in your audience and being a celebrity. It's about how can you get out there to share your story, build those relationships in ways that are consistent and sustainable to you, so that when we're working together, I'm always mindful of your energy levels and your health, and making sure that, hey, when we're doing this together, not only are you starting to get comfortable with it, we can actually have fun with it, because I'm not about to add another thing onto your plate that you can't stand doing
or get stressed out about. And
absolutely.
I'm sure you help, work around things and show them, hey, it's not, we'll start here, and then we'll do this, and then we're going to do that. So there's like an action plan that you're going to go with them to make them feel more comfortable about their journey through PR. One thing that people are really concerned about is the cost, like me. And I'm sure you find what works for them. Like I find what works for people regarding with my services, what works for them and what their budget is too, because I work with them their budget as best I can. But we also need to be paid for our services too. So it's a give and go type of thing. But I'm sure you find people about a way of doing things if they don't have much of a budget, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely give them guidance and recommendations on certain things if they don't have PR experience at all, I often guide them into looking into their own communities for that. Like if they are writers or entrepreneurs and they have networking groups, there's always going to be connections to different areas of, someone has a podcast, or maybe they're doing a YouTube show, or they have a blog, or they have recommendations of blogs and YouTube shows and podcasts that they've been on. So that if it's been vetted by your community, it's a much better chance that it's a good fit for you. So that helps you to save time and energy as well. I feel like that's one of the things that they always feel like it's super insurmountable to get any kind of PR exposure, because they feel like they can't approach the media if it's a big TV station or a national magazine, that kind of thing. So I always say to them, start small. Exactly. And allow yourself to get comfortable. Reach out to the communities and the networks you're a part of, because you'd be surprised how many recommendations you're going to get.
Yes. And after reading your book, I was like, it kind of light bulb moment went off. And I started looking at things in the community to start, getting the feelers of how much something would be to advertise my event if I wanted to do that. Because I'm working with some other people, but I just want to make sure that whatever we spend is going to be well spent to get attraction to our events. And it's important for people to understand there's no one right way. There's multiple different ways to expand your business or health. And I'm sure you feel the exact same way too.
Oh, of course. It's really about giving yourself the freedom and the flexibility to try different things and to lay that foundation down. I mean, going on a handful of podcasts, it's not likely it's going to get you national or international exposure right away. But what it's going to do is allow you to get that experience being on a podcast, allow you to get comfortable with getting into conversation, building those relationships, and it's going to show larger media outlets, maybe newspapers, maybe TV, all of these things, that, hey, you have experience.
Yeah. And when I started my own podcast, I was not very good at the beginning, but I learned to get better, and I made changes here and there to make things better. So that's the whole point. Whatever you do in life, it's a learning, growing moment. You just look at things, go, okay, this didn't quite work out. Let's do this instead. And it makes it easier for you over time. Now, could we talk about your book? I really found it really great. So like I said, I didn't read through the whole book, but I love the way you outlined certain areas. You gave some really good examples. You gave a lot of ways of helping your mindset. I'm going to let you talk about that. And you also gave different areas to look for, PR work or publicity. Can you give us some nuggets?
Well, when I wrote this book, I outlined it with the entrepreneur in mind. And the reason I did that was because the vast majority of the books in my industry are either student textbooks or they're geared towards publicists who want to work in corporate communications or government relations. And those are all areas that I have no desire to work in. And I thought, I've worked with entrepreneurs my entire career, and I know every single one of them deserves to stand up on stage right next to that Fortune 500 CEO. So why don't I write a book that addresses PR at the entrepreneurship level? So when I built the framework for the book, I decided to really focus on mindset, in part because in all my years of doing PR campaigns and also working with agencies to launch larger campaigns in that, I've seen a lot of the same patterns. A lot of entrepreneurs would book calls with us and say, I'm here because so-and-so told me I need PR. So they weren't even aware of what it was, why they needed it, and whether they were ready for it.
Nobody is.
Right.
It's interesting. I was reached out when I did a different business. I used to be a video producer, but I did computer animation and graphics and editing and all that stuff. And I was a woman. This is like in the 1980s and 90s. I was just reached out to because it was like, a woman's doing this? And I was in the Entrepreneur magazine. So you never know. I wish I knew now what I know then, what I know now, because that article would have been a lot better. But you never know until you start doing something and get help from someone like Lilian Sue that will help you understand publicity and how it really will benefit you.
Yeah, a lot of the mindset piece kind of came in because I noticed a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of women in particular,
Mhm.
coming to me and saying like how much fear they had about getting out there and sharing their story because they didn't want to be rejected. They were worried about people judging them. They were worried about what their families would think. And at the same time, when they saw other entrepreneurs in their sectors or in their industries have that success that they wanted, they're like, oh, well, they have a much bigger audience. I could never do that. Or
And it's
they,
judging, yeah.
right. And all of these kinds of things. And I really thought it's about time somebody addresses how to deal with things like your fear, your frustrations, your imposter syndrome, your anxiety. What happens if you launch something and you hear crickets? How do you deal with the impatience part of it? How do you incorporate flexibility into that? And I really wanted to delve into things and incorporate the affirmations and mantras that I use myself and that I use with my clients. And throughout the book, I really reinforce how the mindset piece can come into play in every part of a PR campaign.
Yes,
Whether
you
you're doing
yeah.
the research to find the people you want to get in touch with,
Yes.
or what happens when you send out that email pitch and it's been a couple weeks and you're still hearing crickets. How do you deal with that? How do you pivot from that? And that's one of the things that I honestly felt like was missing from my industry because so much of my industry is in the agency format. You pay X amount of dollars for an agency to run a campaign for you. And once it's done, it's done. And with this book, I really wanted to give entrepreneurs the tools
Mhm.
and the resources to take with them to actually develop an understanding of not only can I launch my own campaign, but if and when they decide, hey, I want to work with an agency, now they have the education and the resources to make better informed decisions about who they want to work with, how they want to spend their budgets, and on top of that, to advocate for their own goals. Because I've heard so many entrepreneurs that have come to me and said, I put $15,000 down on a campaign. I got interviews and I did the interviews and I had fun. But at the end of the day, I don't think I got the results I wanted because I was too afraid to speak up. And
Yeah.
with this book, I really wanted to give entrepreneurs a resource that would help empower them to build that confidence to be able to advocate for their own goals, and having that knowledge in their back pocket and an understanding of how everything works can get them there.
Yeah. And with your coaching, you're giving personal guidance. So if somebody runs into crickets, do you like review what could be done better, or do you tell them to follow up with X, Y, and Z? What exactly is what you would? I guess I don't want to be different, but what would you suggest?
Well, when it comes to coaching, it's absolutely tailored and customized to a particular entrepreneur's needs. So if they send out a pitch and they're hearing crickets, then my question would be twofold. let's look at what you've been sending out. Is that sending out the right message? Because what you want to do, and this is in the book as well, is every time you send out that email pitch, you're answering a key question for every editor, producer, and reporter out there. And that is, what is my audience going to get out of this? Why should they care, right? So your pitch needs to answer that question in a very succinct and concise way. You don't want to be sending them an academic essay.
No kidding. No, I would not read that.
Right. And then the other part of it is like, okay, if you're not hearing back from people, are you connecting with the right people? Or is it just a generic email inbox that you've been sending this to?
Now, is it also who you know type of thing? I'm just curious.
That can definitely be helpful. Certainly, in my years of publicity, I've spent a lot of time cultivating relationships with different media outlets, which can help when I have clients with repeat projects or new projects that are looking for coverage. And that's one of the reasons why I always coach my clients to say, if you're building this relationship, you're not just building this relationship for a one-off media opportunity. You want this to be a long-lasting relationship where you can be asked for return interviews. You can invite them to sponsor your events. Maybe if you're doing a speaking engagement, they can actually interview you live on site. All of these different things and different ways that you can work together for you to not only share your story, but for them to deliver fantastic content that's going to captivate, educate, and entertain their audiences. So it's really about building that long-lasting relationship. Sometimes it really does help if you have that existing relationship, because even if they say no, if their schedule is full, there's an increased chance that they're going to recommend you contact one of their colleagues.
That's good to know. And another little light bulb went off. When it comes to the variety of different medias we can do, and it's really hard to tell because it depends on where you do it, right? What's more powerful, the written word or video or audio?
It honestly depends on the publication or platform audience. And it also depends on how you promote that opportunity. I can't stress that enough. There's an entire chapter in my book devoted just to promoting the media coverage, because if you don't promote that podcast interview, that live event, that video interview, or even that written article properly, no one's going to see it. And if no one sees it, then it's going to be like you never did it at all. Very true. It really, yes, the platform's audience does play a part into it, but even more important is how you promote it, when you promote it, and who you promote it to, because audiences today need to see something about 20 times before they will commit it to memory and decide to do something about it.
That's very true. It's about 20 touches before anything will, for them to remember to contact you or even think about it. Okay. Now, I just want to ask you, what are your offer for my audience today?
I have a fantastic free guide that's going to help your audience learn how to nail every media interview. Inside this guide, there's 5 proven techniques that have helped my clients land international media coverage by helping them build confidence for interviews in the way that they practice and prepare for them, and also gives them techniques on how to keep the conversations flowing during the interviews in order to build trust with the media and audiences, learn how to handle tough questions, and really establish themselves as that savvy media expert. So this is a fantastic guide that I'm giving away for free that they can use to really build up their acumen for interviews.
Yeah, and I guess it could be used for radio as well as TV and podcasts. So it's a wonderful free offer you're giving to the audience today. And you have another offer. What is that?
Well, for your audience who is looking at getting some more guidance of PR, I have a self-paced hybrid PR course known as the Attraction Blueprint. What makes this course different is that I have not only worksheets and video modules in every chapter that will help outline everything on how to build a strong mindset for PR, all the way to, okay, how are you going to effectively promote that piece of media coverage? Everybody who signs up for my course will also have the opportunity to book one-on-one coaching calls with me as they're going through the chapters to really get that personalized guidance and support to help them build and launch different parts of their PR campaign.
Well, I'm going to read your book first. And I may even delve into this. This is really, really, and I'm going to get you a free offer. Why not all of it? Because you can always learn something new that you didn't know. And even if you're doing it, you might find something that in a free offer that really will, oh, I didn't think about that, that will make you a better person for an interview. And of course, with her book and this course, you're going to find something that's going to work for you that maybe you didn't even think about, because you have a wonderful perspective in PR. So I want to thank you for being on my show today. And would you like to be a guest again?
I would love to come back and to continue our conversation about this.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm going to have you stick around for closing remarks, okay? And I think we have a lot of time. So anyways, remember, I revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health, and I help you correct multiple health conditions. I always talk about the gut, but I can also help you with your brain, your heart, hormones, releasing weight. So these areas are all interactive together or interconnected together. And so I do guide you to clean, toxin-free foods and high-quality essential nutrient products that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better, and it will uplift your mood. And I also, with my mindset coaching, I help you, release your stress, emotions, and attainments from the past. And in turn, that's reshaping your core beliefs and making you more, confident, and your mindset becomes more enhanced. With my health optimization as well as weight release, of course, your body is becoming more efficient. So ask me about my programs at my complimentary consultation button of my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, which is DebiChangesLives.com/linktree, LINKTRE. And there you get to know me, I get to know you, and I guide you to optimal health. And it begins with 1 or 2 health assessments. The health evaluation is actually complimentary, where you rate your symptoms the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions are the same as different categories. Answer them all, and you'll get a health score. I will review it with you because we want you to improve upon it. And when you move forward with my services, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy that will drive you to success and will monitor your progress as well. Now, I have 2 different Zyto body scans. And what I love about the Zyto link and also the other body scan is it gives me an idea of your emotional imprint in your health at that moment. And I prefer to do the Zyto link because I can do it remotely and internationally. And I actually sent one to South Africa. Zyto link is a transdermal optical imaging app. I send a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. And it generates a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. I do review it with you. It's quite intensive. So these reports, this service is $75. When you move forward with my program or products, I give you a $25 discount on one of them. And I also have a family pack where you can save $50 on 5 scans. Now, the transdermal optical imaging app, also known as TOI, is what Zyto Link utilizes. And it is quite accurate. And you can look that up at pubmed.gov. That's PUBMED.gov. And people are really amazed what their body tells them through the scan, and you'll be too. Curious, get your first one done to see what they're talking about. And on the side are my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can be utilizing a new version of you for your success. All coaching is done on Zoom, and the first one's private to you because I do go over your health analysis. I give you a choice between 2 meal plans, instructions on one, and I show you how to create that new version of you for your success that will drive you with emotion and passion for your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey, and that's an avatar board. The rest of the coaching, whether it's group or private, we'll be celebrating your wins, and I'll get in your gaps, answer your questions, and give you health and mindset tips. You will become a new you. You can ask me questions on the consultation, as well as you can look at a previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, for more details on this program. Just remember, my prices have gone up. YFAST is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients. A program of exercises and recipes. Again, you can ask me questions about YFAST. And if you have, just to make sure you understand, any intermittent fasting program will help you repair cells, reduce inflammation, and also give you mental clarity. Now, if you feel like you need some coaching, you can purchase a 2-week or 4-week program to get yourself going, and you can keep on paying for coaching if you want to. With my mindset enhancement and my health optimization, you can also pay and do these smaller programs. But truly, those are long-term journeys, and you probably want to pay, buy the bigger program. I can also create a custom program for you. And also, we will talk about that in a consultation. For a limited time, I'm offering Debi's coaching chats, which is a 30-minute coaching session in an intimate group setting. And survey picks a topic. You will learn how to optimize your health, ways to release stress and emotions, efficiently release weight, how to harmonize your hormones for body balance, creating a winning mindset. Use that mindset for health and weight transformations, and also creating that avatar board that's going to drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey. These meetings are 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you need to be registered for it. It's at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives and Victory ES.com/chats. And finally, learn more about alternative health. Programs, products, services, articles, blogs, upcoming shows, events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter, which is at DebiChangesLives.com. And this time, /radio TV show, all in lowercase. And I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal, where you can list your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, the foods you ate, water you drank, nutritional products you took, and the exercise you've done on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. And then you want to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them, find your gaps to work on. Now, if you need help bridging those gaps, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational, inspiring, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, products, and offers. And reach out to Lilian Sue for her offers, services, and book. That book is wonderful. Do we have time to have Lilian Sue come back? Now, I created some links for Lilian for her shows that you can see in the scroll and for offers. And you can get her book off her website. And do you want to tell them that?
Sure. To grab a copy of my book, you can just go direct to my website, in retrospect, writingservices.com/books, and you can get it directly from my online store. Or you can also grab a copy off Amazon as well. And it's available in both paperback and ebook.
Okay, so the bit.ly links are bit.ly, Get Invited Back Guide. And then the blueprint is bit.ly, the Attraction Blueprint. And you can get her free offers, and I really recommend you do that. So Lilian Sue, I love that you're on my show. I've learned a lot, and I'm going to learn more from you in the future. So let's go reconnect again. So now you can continue to enjoy my Ready on TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.